Some of the most hated NBA players includes Polarizing Antics, the annoying hustle guys, villains, and players, especially the ones who underperform. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. After a month into 2022, let's take a look at the most hated player on each team. Starting in alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks, the answer is Trae Young, especially from Knicks fans who continue to do this.
I was wondering when these chants would happen. Christmas and Trae Young not being here.
A master at drawing contacts, very Harden-like, the antics, foul drawing, embraces the villain role, also very hated by the Sixer fans. Despite being one of the most entertaining players, the foul baits, lack of defense, two of the most critical part of his game, of course the heavy Luka fans. Shout that a few might have rather take Trae over the Slovenian, over Doncic for the next 10 years, already making them triggered. Boston Celtics, the entire ESPN with their fake woke propaganda, all shuts up on political statements when it affects their pocketbooks. Those corporate elites praying Ennis Freedom Cantor be out the league with his statements, very outspoken about human rights issues, the league praying for less of his opinions, making him one of the most polarizing players, already hated by multiple countries. Don't be surprised if Cantor doesn't get signed after this season. At least he will have made over 103 mil by the age of 30, but in terms of pure basketball, many fans don't like Marcus Smart solely based on how annoying a defender he is, the flopping antics in the past. Brooklyn Nets, no question, is Kyrie Irving, arguably one of the top 3 most despised players in the league, not only with his decisions not to comply with mandates, but his attitude, missing games when healthy, being complicated to everybody, from personal issues being out, a disservice to his teammates, from his disastrous tenure with Boston, questionable leadership. While the Nets might be the most hated team, many still despise Durant for joining Golden State and don't like Harden for his controversial play style. Brooklyn likely have 3 of the top 10 most hated guys, but Irving so far stands ahead of everybody else, almost as hated as Ben Simmons at this point. Charlotte Hornets, I'm going with Kelly Oubre on this one. Dudes acting jealous, their girls rave too much about his looks, the flamboyant attitude, bad shot taker, will try to dunk on 3 people. For a guy who's averaged over 25 minutes for his career and averaged exactly 1 assist, no more than 1.5 assists for any season, getting quality playing time, his personality rough some the wrong way. Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, after having the best start of his career, his team's cooled off, many questions to be desired. Before getting all the praise, DeRozan used to be a star who continuously gets slept on. After disappointing postseasons with Toronto, having bad advanced stats based on those analytic hardcores, DeRozan used to be scrutinized for taking too many mid-range shots and a lack of threes, but still one of the most effective parts of closing out games. If the Bulls don't make the conference finals, with DeRozan underperforming in the playoffs again, those critics will rise. Cleveland Cavaliers, one of the most likable teams in 2022, the young core looking strong, the biggest front line in the league, all ballin'. The most hated would have to be Rondo, who's at the very twilight of his career, a team without much national attention. They will be covered whenever Rondo gets into an altercation, whether it's with an opposing team or even a teammate. Being demanding, shows his emotions publicly at times. His face when Kawhi Leonard airballed the shot in Game 5 of West Dallas. Thankfully, he's no longer with the Lakers and not the one getting blamed for their struggles. Kevin Love not too liked either due to his contract, but at least he's balling out. Dallas Mavericks, still Kristaps Porzingis, although Doncic now receiving bash, KP looking like he'll remain with the team, contract up 2024, still underperforming. For somebody making over 30 mil, hasn't quite gone back to his former all-star self. The type of player who will miss games throughout the year, still inconsistent. The question is he good enough as Luka's second option to win a playoff series? Denver Nuggets, I'm going with Frank Campazzo, scrappy, annoying. Nuggets fans getting annoyed with his lack of performance, lack of shooting, the altercations, borderline dirty antics. Denver has to play him with Murray out, the team awful outside of Jokic. Every fan's favorite team playing against the Nuggets will always have an opinion on Campazzo's presence on the court. Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Stewart, one of the very worst teams. After charging at LeBron, nobody imagined Stewart was like that, making headlines. The league absolutely don't like that, breaking tackles one after another. The Detroit Lions certainly can use him. Also the way he chirped at Blake Griffin. Blake liked the tweet mocking Stewart. For many casuals, the only moment they remember this season from Detroit, the Stewart incident, nothing else. Golden State Warriors, although Steph Curry is getting plenty of hate due to his 2-1 shooting slump, making him drop further in the MVP race, the answer's still Draymond Green. His antics not as bad on the court as previous years. Green would make occasional comments and give his bold opinions on the game. Houston Rockets, John Wall, making all that bread, not playing, wasted first half of the season, pathetic. How the franchise devalues him, they rather Wall just not play, clearly shows what they truly think about him. CP3 could have taken the easy route a few years ago and refused to play for the Thunder until he was traded, but proved his greatness as an all-time great point guard. Wall potentially losing out on another full year wouldn't help him. Back then showed frustrations on guys getting more money than him, the Reggie Jacksons of the world. Now from being one of the top 3 highest paid players in the league, what have he done since getting that max contract? Still should have something in the tank. Consider an average player now, a player option worth over 47 for 2023, secure the back bearer to Gilbert Arenas, while Kevin Porter Jr.'s emotional antics not as talked about. Los Angeles Clippers, Marcus Morris Sr., known for his toughness getting into people's faces, his beef with Doncic drawing back-to-back postseasons, from blowing the 3-1 lead, acting cocky, trash-talking Millsap in that Nuggets series made him age his worst. The Los Angeles Lakers, right now, the entire Laker fan base hates Russell Westbrook, the most hatred Russ ever gotten. His image literally getting tarnished game by game, lowlight by lowlight, but at the end of the season, a 1-hour blooper of his play in the making, the second highest paid player continues to make the same mistakes every season, struggles with his athleticism from time to time, being 33, hasn't found much success since KD left him, ripped to shreds every day. There hasn't been a former MVP more bashed for his regular season play in a long time. Laker fans have had enough. Some would even be content the team just straight up buying him out. Boneheaded plays after another, never became a reliable shooter. If he's still a Laker by the end of the season and it's a first round exit, Westbrook might honestly be crowned the most overrated star in NBA history. Many already couldn't stand his out of control game, now playing with the most talked about great of this generation, all his flaws, every single play critiqued, shown. Would Laker fans even acknowledge Russ on the street of LA? Already caused insane amount of headaches for the fan base every time the Lakers lose. Even if Russ had a good game, will still get bashed regardless of his performance, worse than how Carmelo Anthony was getting bashed after one season with OKC. Memphis Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks, his reactions after a play, personality, fearlessness, complaining to refs, getting teased. Brooks was disliked by opposing teams while playing for Oregon, can get a little feisty with those facial expressions. Miami Heat, Markieff Morris started the shove on Jokic, laid out, missed 30 games, the most hated player by Nuggets fans, called Jokic a 300-pound sloppy fat boy. If Morris didn't act that way, he simply wouldn't have gotten the treatment. Now, he'll think twice before seeing who he'll mess with. Morris has a knack of talking the talk, but wasn't walking the walk, turned his back, expecting nothing out of it. Sometimes better not to mess with the wrong people. Milwaukee Bucks, Grayson Allen, extremely hated, causing Alex Caruso 2 months, only suspended a game. We knew it was only a matter of time before we see Allen commit a questionable dirty play. Extremely hated for his cheap antics at Duke. The fact that he was murking about it after a classless move. Many college hoop fans single-handedly will cheer against the Bucks come playoff time, only to pray for Grayson Allen to lose. The hatred, the typical face many can't stand, pretty much a guard version of Bill Laimbeer, but playing in the wrong era. Allen single-handedly made more noise on injuring Caruso than he has since coming to the league. Next time he commits a dirty play, lots of people gonna lose their minds. Minnesota Timberwolves, Patrick Beverley, no longer hated as much since not being with a contender, runs around, gets into guys' faces, confrontational style, still producing solidly at 33. Some think he's a good player, but many believe he's overrated. The altercations with Dame Russ and CP3, most irritating player and master instigator. The New Orleans Pelicans, Jackson Hayes, due to his off-the-court incidents, hit with 12 misdemeanors charges in LA, domestic violence, started getting hate when complaining on social media, not making the Rising Stars team, has potential but barely any improvements. While Zion getting some hate now, many very concerned about his body, already missed more than half his games. New York Knicks, Julius Randle, even the fans started to turn their back against the former most improved player. After constant struggles to booze, Randle showing his frustrations. New York fans no patience for lackluster performance performances, not looking too optimistic about the franchise's future. New York's in danger of missing the play-in, let alone the playoffs entirely. OKC Thunder, I'm going with Josh Giddey. Doubts of him drafted 6 very high. A negative graphic immediately put on display. The 19-year-old often doesn't get much praise compared to his other draft mates. Not really hated, but very disrespected by some. Orlando Magic, the team flat out stinks. Magic fans and everybody else in the league wondering why 30-year-old Terrence Ross still with the franchise. Those fans probably sick of him already, wasting away. Other than that, no one cares about the team right now. Philadelphia 76ers, the pathetic Ben Simmons is an absolute travesty and straight up pathetic. Too scared to play another game for the franchise, weak-minded. If he just man up and ball out, be willing to take some threes and slightly improve, the Hawks series would have already been forgotten. But Simmons simply shown his true character, lack thereof, the constant trade rumors every week but to no avail, and B playing his tails off given Ben's contract, lack of work ethic, all that talent, acting entitled, that'll win him 0 NBA championships. Morey continues stalling, the definition of being a straight up loser, trying to blame everybody but himself, the same arrogant attitude since college, super stubborn. Who wants a guy like that? Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul, despite his greatness, given all the years his past flop antics and complaining, still get people mad as polarizing a point guard there is, while his game aging like wine. Jay Crowder hated by LeBron fans obviously. Portland Trailblazers, nobody really hated. If I had to pick one, it's Nasir Little due to his controversial dive on Kyrie, but when Dame's not playing, barely anyone pays attention to this team. Sacramento Kings, for non-basketball reasons, the answer is Tristan Thompson. When's the last time he made a headline that was basketball related? All the Kardashian drama, non-basketball fans know more about Thompson's dating life than die-hard NBA fans remembering about his stats and accomplishments, but for basketball reasons, the answer is Marvin Bagley. Outspoken father, demanded his son get traded, still stuck with the franchise. Who knows what the team does with him going forward? Do they just let him go just like the Bucks did Jabari Parker? San Antonio Spurs, while Laker fans hate Queta-based Diops, I'm going with Zach Collins, who hasn't played since the bubble, always banged up. Blazer fans didn't really like him, found him as a waste of a pick. Somehow got 3 years $22 million for San Antonio, finally starting to get healthy. Toronto Raptors, Goran Dragic, many couldn't believe he was an all-star in 2018. Just 5 games this season, didn't want to play for the franchise at first, disrespected them right away, but now still stuck with the team. Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, outside of Simmons, the second most criticized player last playoffs for mocking the COVID situation. Opposing players love to hate on him. Couple years ago, guys mocked him for crying, not making the All-Star team. No matter how great his regular season defense is, if he gets worked in the playoffs just like the Clippers series, more bashing continues. Washington Wizards, Montrezl Harrell. First moment people started to hate him, calling Luka Doncic unfriendly remarks from his struggles in the bubble to leaving the Clippers, not liking the preferential treatment of Paul George and Kawhi, and joining the other LA team, caught everybody off guard, to making his feelings known online, being benched by Vogel, and complaining on social media. Recently got into a fight, punched his drum with teammate KCP. After not getting along with both LA teams, many start to wonder whether Harrell's more of an issue for teams than an asset. Thank you so much for watching this video. Who's your most hated NBA player today? Let me know in the comments below. I love all of you. See you next time.